Okay, hi everyone, this is Shannon, the Recycleista, and as you can see, I'm trying something a little bit different today to show off some of the things I found at thrift stores recently, this past weekend. And I don't do a whole lot of videos, and the last ones I did were a couple years ago, and I have them on my YouTube channel, which has only like 3 videos on it, but I just did it with the camera just showing the items, and so I'm adding myself to it, so we'll see how that goes. I don't know how I feel about this, but anyway, I'm willing to try, and I do want to learn, so I do want to get these looking a little bit more professional and less amateur. This might not be the best spot. I can't even reach it, so anyway, let's just get started. I also am not a big video watcher, so when I do watch them, I don't like a lot of the chit chat, but I'm gonna probably end up just doing that myself, so I understand now. Okay, so let's just start. This past weekend I got to thrift with my family a little bit and then by myself for a little bit, and when we were together, my husband, as we're walking into the thrift store, he's like, hey, that TV show Clash of the Collectibles. So I don't know if you've seen this. It's a British show, and 2 antique dealers kind of battle it out, and they have each have a set amount of money, and they go into antique stores and places like that, and using their own specific expertise, they have to find good things to sell. And at the end of the show, they bring everything to an auction, and they see who made the most money. So it's kind of a funny little show, but we have been watching it with our kids, and so my husband's like, hey, let's do our own Clash of the Collectibles competition. I'm just going to tell you straight out, it was kind of a bust because my husband didn't find anything that he wanted to flip. So, but anyway, I was with my 11-year-old, and my husband had the 6-year-old, and my poor 6-year-old was very discouraged because he would just pick up everything. What about this, Daddy? What about this, Daddy? And he was getting upset that nothing he was finding was worth anything. So we were trying to explain, that's just the way it is sometimes. Sometimes you just don't see anything good. So anyway, so my 11-year-old and I'll just show you the things real quick that him and I found. So first thing we found right away were these enamelware canisters. Look at that color. So anyway, nice condition inside. My 11-year-old was doing exactly what he's supposed to do. Mom, look, there's damage, right? But here's the other damage. It's the worst on this biggest one. The other ones are actually in pretty good shape. But it doesn't matter because enamelware, it's one of those things that chippy is good, right? And so there's no, again, white, nice and white on the inside. There are 4, so I've got all 4 sizes, and anyway, we paid like $15, but the Goodwill's in our area on Fridays, they have a Facebook coupon, and so we got 25% off on that, so I thought that was worth it. And the color is awesome. I think we'll do pretty good on that. The other thing we bought was, okay, this is totally my 11-year-old. He loves anything that looks antique or vintage. He does think they should be worth more than they are, but he found this little music box, but it does have the brand name Mele, M-E-L-E, which is known in jewelry box world, and it's a little jewelry casket. It is a music box, so he loves that part. It's got a little faux tortoise shell on the top, and it's really dusty. I need to clean it. I'm not going to wind it right now. But anyway, I was looking at comps right before this, so $10 to $20 on eBay. So we'll shoot for about $20, $25 on eBay and see how it does. That'll make him happy. And the other thing we picked up at that Goodwill on that stop, I just thought my son could list this and work on it. It's a snowboarding edition of Monopoly, but it's sealed. That's how I like to do board games. I don't do board games hardly at all. A lot of people, even when they're open and missing pieces, they'll sometimes sell the pieces, things like that. But I tend to not really do a whole lot of board games. But this one, we looked it up online, and Amazon had it for, their asking price was about $100, a little bit higher. But for some reason, I am still gated either for that brand or for toys and games. I'm not usually, so I have to look into that and see why it wouldn't let me. It was restricted. But on eBay, someone had gotten $50 for it, so $40 to $50. So I think we'll shoot for that, and I think I'll make him do the listing and the pictures and things, which is funny because he's 11, and I keep thinking this is what he would be interested in selling, but this is what he likes. He likes antiques, so I got to keep remembering that. Okay, so that was that Goodwill. Double checking that was everything. Yes. So we got a bite to eat, and then we were like, the competition doesn't have to be over. We can try someplace else. So my son, the 11-year-old, says, well, we need to go to an antique store because that's what they do in the show. And I said, okay, that's great. And so we only found a couple things there, and my son was actually surprised at the prices. And I said, this is a good education for him because, we explained it's an antique store, it's not a thrift store. What we do there is you find some either under the radar things, or you just go for research. You just go and you see and you look and you recognize what's vintage and what's older, and you get a feel for these things. So then when you are at a yard sale or a estate sale or a thrift store, you can spot the vintage a lot quicker. So that's what I like doing there, even if I don't buy anything. But we did buy a couple things. Again, I found some things. I don't think my husband found anything there either. He just didn't have his mojo that day, I guess. So one thing I found was believe it or not, it was a garlic press. It's vintage, but it's not an antique. And it's aluminum, and it's just very sleek and modern looking. I have sold this exact one a couple times in my Etsy shop, and so it's a quick pictures, relist, easy peasy, or copy, you know what I mean. The other thing, which is really funny, is a Starbucks mug I found at the antique store. So at least in our area, a lot of antique stores are not just antique stores. Some of the booths are more flea market, maybe upscale flea market, where it's scarves and purses and things like that. This one booth had a bunch of Starbucks mugs. So they're collectibles, kind of fits into that antiques collectibles kind of thing. So this is an older style travel mug. It has its lid, which is a big thing. It's a very popular style. I have sold it before, and I think this was $7 or so. I grabbed it because it's clean. Even my husband looked at it and he was like, I don't think it's ever been used. So has no coffee smell or anything. So anyway, we grabbed that one. So that'll be an easy list as well. And and the antique store has costume jewelry, one particular booth. So these are by Monet. They're just kind of big, clunky 80s, 90s power earrings, but they have a little bit of rose gold color. I haven't researched them yet, but. And then also Laurel Birch. It's a little bit different than her normal enamel, but they're just plain silver, but they're feathers. So I thought those would do pretty well. At least something I was familiar with. So after the antique store, I think our game was pretty much over, but we decided to stop at, there's one little thrift store that is in our town, real close to our house, so we decided to stop there. I picked up this mug for 25 cents, and it was a Itala. Maybe you can see that. Do I have it the right way? Yeah, Itala, which is usually glassware, so it was kind of surprising. It did, I haven't seen too much of the ceramic stuff, but Itala is also connected to Arabia of Finland, and it's just super cute. It's got an owl and a peacock. So 25 cents, I could probably get 20. I'm guessing $15, $20 for that. The other thing I found there were these candle holders. So one was by itself, and I found, I think it was this one, and I said, oh, that's so sad. It's one, but you know what? Recently, I gathered up all of our little tulip brass candlesticks, and I had about 20. They were all different heights. It was a bunch of sets like this, right? And maybe some incomplete sets. And they weren't this rounded shape, but they were like more square up here. I know you've seen them. But I sold the whole big lot of them for $160, $150. So it's just, this makes this big statement. Like, so a person can just cover their table, or they can put them on their mantle or in front of their fireplace or something. So anyway, when I saw the one, I said, well, you know what? 50 cents, I could just hang on to it and start collecting another grouping of it. And then, a couple shelves over, here's the rest of the little set. So I think I'm just going to list this together because I love this shape up here. We don't find that very often, and these are really popular, just so you know. Brass candlesticks. These don't have any particular, sometimes they say Taiwan, things like that. So that was there. Also, flatware. So they have a nice little bin of their 10-cent flatware. So I just picked up odds and ends. So there's just some atomic type stuff. There's the stuff with the black handle. I'm going to be talking about that in my blog soon. I've sold a lot of it before. I just found some too. Another good one. But just pieces that I know I have other pieces of it, and I can add these to my sets. So I'm going to do that. Then, this was a fun one, and you're not going to be able to see it because it's so small, but it's a restaurant type. Sorry about that. It's a restaurant type spoon. It's silver plated, but the restaurant or the hotel is actually a casino in Las Vegas, Stardust. You Vegas peeps will have to tell me if that place is even still there. I think it is. But it's got this awesome, just look it up. It's the Stardust. Is that what I said? Starburst? Stardust? This is silly. Anyway, it's the casino, and it has a nice, like, atomic look to the font right there. So I really like that. Anyway, so I grabbed that, and I also, okay, so that was all that Friday. Then on Saturday, I went and did some thrifting by myself. So what I picked up there was, I have a set of utensils. They are by Flint. And then these actually say, they have the little arrowhead symbol, so you put that in your listing, Flint arrowhead. It's kind of a common pattern. They call it wheat. I don't know if you can see it, but you might have seen it before. And these were all in pretty good shape. A lot of times the pattern is faded on here. Now, Flint arrowhead, Echo, all those ones, the short little spatulas, that's what you want to look out for. These sell pretty well. So I'm probably just going to put these all together anyway, because the wear on them is about the same. And so someone can get a nice little lot of them all at once. So I found those. And I also found, they didn't have a whole lot of the flatware in the bags, not that I picked up, but I came around the corner and they had a wooden flatware box, like the old kind for the silver flatware. And I expected it to be empty, but when I opened it up, I had all this flatware in it, and it's stainless, and it's not super exciting, but it's by Oneida, and it is marked on the back 1881 Rogers Limited, Oneida Limited, something like that. But it's a just bread and butter pattern. It's called True Rose or Arbor Rose, and I got a bunch of it, and the condition is really, really good. So like I said, just going to be a bread and butter kind of thing. I've sold that pattern before, and people still need it, so they want it. And okay, so that was that. I think I covered most everything. The last thing I just want to share real quick, I bought these online, so this wasn't thrifting, but I did get some flatware online. Now this was a online selling site. I had some credit from it, and so I only ended up spending like $20 on this flatware. But even without my credit, it was a good deal because it's new, and it's in its package, and it's Lennox. And they didn't have the is that on eBay? Okay, that's not going to show. Sorry, I just sold something on eBay, so it just popped up. Anyway, they didn't have the pattern mentioned in their listing, but I recognized it, and I have sold teaspoons, like 4 teaspoons for the same price as what they were asking for the whole set. So I used my credit and I bought it, of course. And as you can see, it's pretty much a whole set. I mean, it's got serving pieces and all sorts of things. So I'm pretty excited because that just came today. And as you can see, it's all new in its little packages. So I'm going to be busy, and I've got to get some flatware listed. So anyway, that is my haul for the weekend, and I'm trying to get things listed a little bit faster. So let me know what you think. Leave a comment below. Please be nice to me. Anyway, like I said, I will try to get better at this, and I will also try to play around with it so it looks a little less amateur-ish. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you on the blog, and have a good night.